Danny and I went to the cinema today, and guess what we saw? There's a lot out in the cinema, actually. I was surprised at how much there was on offer. We decided we had a few decisions to make. There was one film that stood out. It is definitely Disney's attempt to appeal to the Chinese market. The thing is, you can feel that they're gunning for it. Of course, it's Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings. Honestly, truthfully, I really enjoyed it. It was amazing. Really freaking good. I haven't seen a Marvel movie where I've actually been in, like, watching scenes, being on board with the characters, fully on board with him as a character. I normally, I'm not that bothered about, I'll go and see a Marvel movie. I'm not a mega fan. Going to see Shang-Chi, I really enjoyed it. There is a scene near the beginning of the film, and I was like, I'm on board. This is ace. This is really fun. It's a scene in a bus, and it's just so good. So entertaining, really well choreographed. I'm glad I saw it in the cinema. It's got some epic stuff. Occasionally, at the beginning of the film, you can tell that some of the CG is a little off, but then when you get to the end of the film, it's really apparent that they were saving themselves, because the ending is really CGI heavy because of the setting and everything. But it's so good. It feels epic. And the characters are all really good. They're really well fleshed out. In fact, it's probably the biggest letdown about the film is it has really slow bits, but it's exposition slow bits, because there's a lot to get through, because it's a new IP. And with new IPs, there's always a lot to explain. And it does take, there's a lot to take in, especially with it being the most Marvel movie I've seen. And it's just because of the aspect of it, because literally never heard of this person, never heard of this story. It's a lot to take on board for someone who isn't that invested in this character. I don't have a preconceived idea of this character before walking in the cinema. And I came out of that going, I'd happily see another Shang-Chi, sorry, I'm pronouncing it wrong. There's actually a scene in the film that teaches you how to pronounce it. It's quite funny, in a not in a very obvious way, but to me it seemed obvious. But it is really good, and obviously they're pushing this character up to be one of the lead characters in the new phase of Marvel. Shang-Chi is going to be a big part of the future of this franchise, and the lead actor has the gravitas to carry it. He's so good. I need to go and find what films he's been in before and see where he's come from and what he's done in the past, because I've never heard of him. Can't remember his name right now. It was great. In fact, the shoehorning, the bits that kind of jerked you were the bits that were the Marvel bits that came in. They do coalesce and they become, the part of that universe. There's a couple of little, very subtle nods to the blip in it at the beginning, but then later in the film, especially at the end, they kind of tie it into Marvel. But then there's one character in it that's a bit of a jar, and you're like, that's really weird, but it fits the film. It speaks to the fact that a film in the past of the Marvel franchise kind of alluded to this a long time ago. I won't tell you who's in it, but all I'll say is it involves, which is pretty far now when you consider how long ago that film came out. I can barely remember what happened. But I do remember one character in particular, and it's really strange to see that come back. But yeah, the action set pieces are just amazing. There's this scene on a side of a building on bamboo scaffolding that blew me away. The way it was shot and how they managed to keep it looking realistic and also choreographed, and it was just insane. But the bus fight is hands down, that was just a moment. I was just stunned. It was the first time in a long time, probably since something like The Raid, where I have watched a film and gone, that's really cool. The choreographing and the way that they use every trick in the book to get the action just right and make you see the action. It's not just a blur and close-ups and stuff. It's really cool. So yeah, I would recommend it. Also, the score was really good, and I came out of the film humming the score. So that's rare. You don't go to films like that, and rarely do you come out of the film humming the score. When you start singing the score immediately after leaving the cinema, you know something's worked, and it worked. It was really good. So honestly, I would recommend going and trying it, especially because it's got this whole Like, it is built for the Chinese market. You can so tell they're just like banking on that. Like, there are moments in the film where you're like, this would normally happen, like there'd be a joke or there'd be a crass sexualism or there would be something like this. And you can just tell that they're cutting all that off and they're making sure that it's like absolutely like a direct arrow at the Chinese market, and everyone knows what they're doing on it. The people who are doing the martial arts like know what they're doing on it, and it's really cool. So there you go. That was Shang-Chi. Thank you so much for checking out my review of Shang-Chi. Really enjoyed that film. It was the first time I've done a movie review on this channel. I love doing movie reviews. I used to do them all the time when I was younger. Now that I have a Twitch stream, I've decided I'm going to do a movie review every now and again, and I'm going to upload it here on YouTube. If you would like to see more of this content, please hit that like button, click subscribe, and ring the notification bell, and you'll be notified whenever I'm uploading new content. If you would like to see a movie reviewed, please let me know in the comments and let me know what you thought of this. It's a new thing I'm doing and just trialing out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.